Let's catch up with all the business news now. Juliet Foster is at Canary Wharf. Juliet.
Yeah, well, Canary Wharf, of course, is the headquarters of Barclays, and maybe there's something rather symbolic about this, but if you look behind me, there's a tall building and there's a white patch. That's normally where the Barclays name hangs, but for some reason it is conspicuous by its absence. Maybe it's got something to do with the fact that it's a rather blowy day, but either which way, there's been a fair amount of turbulence blowing in the direction of Barclays. Just to give you a sense of the gravity of this crisis, at one point the shares lost about 18% of their value. The narrowing is closed in a little bit. We're still down around 14%, but nonetheless, this bank has taken a bit of a hammering, and that turbulence likely to continue for some time yet as more questions are being raised about the exact nature of what went on with that LIBOR manipulation. Well, joining me now from the London Stock Exchange is Chris Roebuck. He's from the Cass Business School and an analyst as well on the banking sector. But Chris, quite surprising, and it does beg the question, why did nobody know what was going on?
Level. Some people in Barclays did not know the difference between what is right and what is wrong, and that poses all sorts of questions. Yes, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other people in Barclays who do know the difference, but all you need in a bank is a small group of people who are doing the wrong thing, and it produces these sort of effects. The question is, what do you do about it? You can't regulate to force people to behave well. And it's about leadership, the people at the top of the organisation making it clear what's right and what's wrong so everybody knows.
But in fairness to Bob Diamond, the Barclays boss, at some point of his leadership, he may well have said to them, look, you have to be ethical in the way you conduct your business. The casino mentality no longer prevails. So in a sense, it doesn't matter how many times you lecture people about their values. If they're not going to pay any attention, it doesn't really make that much difference.
No, I absolutely agree, and you have to have a carrot and stick approach that says quite clearly these are the sort of behaviours we expect in this institution, and if you go off the path of righteousness you will be out. That simple. And if you have done something that is a criminal offence, we will get the police in to prosecute you.
How many other banks do you think are ensnared in this? I mean, is it fair to say that perhaps there were one or two institutions which were rather honourable in the way they conducted their business?
I think the issue here is that there, to some degree, is a little bit of a fine line between what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And I suspect that in the enthusiasm to do the best for their institution, certain people go over the line. And I suspect it is likely that one or two people may have done that elsewhere. But that goes back to the core point that unless you have a very clear set of values in organisations, then people get confused because they're told they need to make money, and in the attempt to make money they sometimes do things perhaps they shouldn't.
OK, Chris Roebuck from the Cass Business School will have to leave it there. A reminder, of course, that those Barclays shares down by about 14%. But it's worth taking a look at the banking sector generally, because this has triggered tremendous concerns, of course, about others who may have been involved. One of the other banks named in this, of course, has been RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland. And really, this situation capping what's been a pretty turbulent few weeks. The other irony to this story as well is that Barclays was one of those banks which, in more prosperous times, I suppose, actually bought up the carcass of Lehman Brothers, the profitable elements which hadn't quite succumbed to the downfall. And don't forget, Barclays also prided itself on the fact that it didn't take a taxpayer's bailout. Back to you.
Juliet, thanks very much.